A cashier lends a hand to a struggling teen mom, only to find himself fired the next day. But then, a helicopter arrives outside his home, changing everything. A store cashier extends a hand of compassion to a struggling teenage mother by offering her free nappies in her time of need, unknowingly setting in motion a chain of events that will lead to the loss of his job. The following day, a helicopter descends near his apartment building, bringing with it a startling revelation about the young mother, one that will have him pondering the true nature of her identity. Welcome to Unveiled Tales. Delight in today's tale, brimming with unforeseen turns and touching revelations. Ben, a newcomer behind the register, was navigating the early days of his role on a calm afternoon. While he meticulously scanned items at the register, his gaze drifted to a young mother navigating the baby aisle, her youthful energy palpable. She held the baby close to her heart, the young woman's face revealing a tempest of concern. Her eyes danced between two choices, nappies and baby formula. With a hesitant hand, she extended her fingers towards the package of nappies, a slight tremor betraying her emotions as she made contact. Her gaze swept over the price tag, then shifted to the formula with curiosity. Her hand lingered just above it. Uncertainty etched in the creases of her furrowed brow. It was evident she couldn't manage to have both. For a fleeting instant, she remained still, caught in the delicate balance between what was needed and what must be given up. At last, with a tremor in her breath, she selected the formula, her fingers gliding over the nappies one final time before she pivoted towards the register. With each step, she moved deliberately, her form burdened by the silent battles she carried within. From behind the counter, Ben observed with keen interest. He required no words to grasp her tale, her silence conveyed it all. The young woman stepped up to the register, cradling her baby tightly, her hands shaking as she set the can of formula on the counter. She kept her gaze down, as if hoping to slip by unnoticed. Ben examined the formula, his attention drawn to her gaze as it wandered towards the nappies, a wistful expression illuminating her features. It was evident she desired them. Yet the burden of affording both items weighed heavily on her mind. Ben took a brief pause, allowing the moment to linger. He cast a fleeting look at the infant, nestled comfortably against her chest, its minuscule eyes fluttering open and closed in a drowsy haze, blissfully ignorant of the turmoil that was taking place around them. Only the equation? Ben inquired gently, his tone measured to avoid surprising her. She nodded, yet her eyes remained averted from his gaze. Ben inhaled deeply, his hand resting thoughtfully on the counter. "You forgot the nappies," he said softly, pointing to the package nestled in her cart. Her head jerked up, and for a fleeting moment, a spark of panic danced in her eyes. "I can't," she whispered, her voice a fragile thread in the silence. With a swift motion, Ben delved into his pocket, retrieving his wallet. With a swift motion, he glided his card across the reader, then offered her the nappies with a nod. "Take them," he said, his voice steady and gentle, weaving a sense of assurance in his words. "Feel free to return the favor whenever it suits you." The woman's lips parted, yet silence enveloped her, tears welling in her eyes and cascading down as she clutched the nappies tightly. She gazed at Ben, a wave of emotion washing over her, and could only muster a soft, heartfelt, "Thank you." For her, these nappies transcended mere necessity. They embodied hope, delicately encased in gentle packaging. A gentle response to her unvoiced hopes, a reminder that even in her bleakest hours, compassion could still reach her. Ben offered a subtle nod, locking eyes with her. "Look after your little one," he said with a calm and reassuring tone. As the woman strolled away, the whispers trailing behind her started to swell in volume. A handful of patrons cast sidelong glances, their murmurs gradually escalating into bold voices aimed squarely at Ben. "Do you believe that's just?" A man stood with his arms crossed, a frown etched on his face as he cast a glance at Ben. "You simply offered up your products. This is a place of commerce, not a benevolent organization." Indeed, uncertainty lingered in the air as a woman interjected, her head shaking gently while she rearranged her purse. "Nothing in life should come without a price. Value is found in the exchange. What sort of establishment allows that to occur?" Ben's fingers gripped the register, his hands becoming still as ice. His heart raced within him as he looked up, locking eyes with the small gathering before him. Some wore expressions of annoyance. Others appeared merely perplexed, yet none seemed to grasp the events that had just unfolded. He parted his lips, ready to share his thoughts, yet silence enveloped him, and no words emerged. What words could escape his lips? He understood the righteousness of his actions, yet the burden of the store's policies pressed down on him like a heavy cloak. Just as he was about to speak, Mr. Carter, the store manager, emerged at the far end of the aisle. His expression was somber, and Ben sensed the weight of the conversation that lay ahead. The manager's gaze flitted to the softly chattering customers, then returned to rest on Ben. As the evening wore on and the store settled into a hush, Ben found himself in the presence of Mr. Carter. Seated in his office, Ben sensed the palpable tension in the air, with Mr. Carter's unwavering gaze fixed upon him. Today, I came across the tale of what transpired. The manager's voice was steady as he stated, "You gave away merchandise, and that's a clear violation of store policy. It seems that the proper procedure was not followed, and we must address that accordingly. Regrettably, the time has come for me to part ways with you." Ben felt a heavy weight in his stomach. He nodded, surrendering to the moment, unable to find the words to contest it. His actions were driven by a genuine sense of kindness, yet the policy stood unwavering, and he understood that exceptions were simply not permitted. Mr. Carter presented him with his last paycheck, and their fleeting handshake carried a sense of closure. With a decisive turn, Ben exited the office, leaving behind the echoes of his footsteps. As the night deepened in his apartment, Ben took hold of his notebook and started to jot down ideas, the soft glow of his desk lamp illuminating his thoughts. Neighborhood cafes, charming retail shops, and even those quirky delivery gigs, anything that might sprinkle a little extra income into the mix. He had no time to indulge in self-pity. As he toiled, a tide of unease surged through him. Tomorrow, he would embark on his quest for employment, yet the shadows of uncertainty regarding the future cast a daunting presence. As weariness wrapped around him like a soft blanket, he surrendered to the gentle pull of slumber. Yet, the dawn unfolded in a way he never anticipated. Instead of his alarm, Ben was stirred from slumber by a low, rhythmic hum that swelled in volume with each passing second. With a gentle rub of his eyes, he shuffled to the window, only to find himself frozen in place. A sleek, black helicopter gracefully descended into the small parking lot nestled behind his apartment building. As dust and leaves danced in the air, they beckoned the intrigued neighbors to peek through their windows. Before Ben could fully grasp the unfolding events, a sudden, sharp knock reverberated through his flat. His heart raced as he approached the door with careful steps. As he opened it, two figures in dark suits awaited him in the hallway. "Ben Foster?" one of them inquired, his tone unwavering and courteous. "Ah, indeed?" Ben responded, his bewilderment clear as day. The towering figure reached out his hand, an invitation woven into the gesture. "Greetings, Mr. Foster. Allow me to introduce myself. I am William, and beside me stands my esteemed colleague, Daniels. We come bearing the message of Mr. Harris." The name struck Ben with the force of a lightning bolt, his eyes widening in a moment of sudden recognition. "Hold on, Mr. Harris? Are you referring to the billionaire? The individual who possesses all those technology enterprises and a significant portion of the real estate in the downtown area?" William gave a slight nod. "Indeed, the singular and unmatched." Ben gazed intently, wrestling with the fragments of understanding. Mr. Harris stood as a figure of admiration, a remarkable entrepreneur and philanthropist whose every endeavor seemed to transform into something extraordinary. But what could a character like him possibly desire from Ben? William pressed on. "We have a question for you. Were you there to lend a hand to a young mother at your store yesterday?" Ben blinked, momentarily stunned. "Indeed, I lent her a hand. What transpired? Is she okay?" William nodded, his voice warm and comforting. "She is well and secure." He took a moment, then continued. "Have you heard? She's the daughter of Mr. Harris." Ben's eyes sparkled with astonishment. "His beloved child? Are you truly saying that she is indeed his daughter?" William gave a knowing nod once more. "Indeed, we mean it." Ben grappled with the weight of the revelation. The woman from yesterday, frazzled and desperate, found herself unable to afford even the basics, yet she was the daughter of a man who could easily purchase an entire store. Ben's brow knitted together in perplexity. But what is the reason behind it? What could be the reason for her struggle? She found herself in a situation where even the simplest necessities, like nappies, were beyond her reach. How does that unfold? William paused, weighing his words with great care. This is a matter of the heart, woven into the fabric of family bonds. One might say that the truth often hides behind a veil, even for families like the Harrises. Daniels, who lingered in quietude, stepped forward, his voice steady yet sincere. Mr. Harris wishes to extend his heartfelt gratitude to you directly. He will share the tale of his daughter and the circumstances they find themselves in. Ben paused, caught in a delicate balance between unease and intrigue. Yet, when William waved his hand towards the waiting helicopter, an irresistible curiosity stirred within him, compelling him to uncover more. With a swift motion, Ben snatched his jacket and stepped out into the world beyond, trailing behind them. The whir of the rotors filled the air as he ascended into the helicopter. Neighbors peering from their windows, their expressions a blend of curiosity and wonder. With a soft thud, the helicopter descended gracefully onto the estate's secluded helipad. Ben emerged, his gaze sweeping across the magnificent estate. Yet, there was but a single silhouette poised in anticipation. Once upon a time, there was a man named Mr. Harris, clad in a sharp outfit. He made his way towards Ben, exuding a calm confidence as he reached out his hand. Mr. Foster, a figure of intrigue and depth. Harris greeted Ben with a warm smile, his grip on Ben's hand strong and reassuring. Gratitude fills the air for your presence here today. I wish to have a personal conversation with you. Ben nodded, a flicker of uncertainty dancing in his eyes as he pondered the unfolding journey ahead. Absolutely. But what is the tale behind all this? Harris's expression softened, revealing a blend of gratitude and sadness that danced in his eyes. It revolves around my daughter, the lady you assisted just yesterday. What that meant to her and to me is beyond your understanding. Harris waved his hand towards a nearby bench, inviting Ben to take a seat. As they settled, he inhaled deeply, his voice unwavering yet tinged with feeling as he pressed on. In the beginning, Harris spoke of a misstep she had taken. A poor decision, indeed. She placed her faith in someone unworthy. Once upon a time, there was a young man named John, who happened to be her high school friend. In the beginning, he appeared to be captivating, encouraging, and full of aspirations. Yet, as the tale unfolds, it becomes clear that John's interest in her was merely a facade, driven solely by her name, her connections, and the benefits her family could offer. Ben leaned in, his gaze fixed intently on Harris. As their relationship blossomed, Harris spoke, his voice laced with a hint of sorrow. In the face of my cautions, she held steadfast in her faith in him. In a bold move, she cast aside her family ties, believing wholeheartedly that her choice to be with him was the right path to follow. Yet, the journey of life often takes unexpected turns. He took a moment, his hands held together with intensity. She found herself with child, and for a time, John remained by her side. He embraced the role of a devoted partner, until the weight of fatherhood began to unfold before him. Gradually, he started to pull away, crafting justifications, evading his responsibilities. And one fateful day, he vanished from her life entirely, slipping away without a single word of farewell. Ben experienced a twinge of compassion as Harris pressed on, his voice sinking to a softer tone. She felt a heavy weight of shame that kept her from returning to her family and revealing the truth of what had transpired. Instead, she embraced a variety of odd jobs to make ends meet, striving to provide for herself and her little one. She was reluctant. I wanted to understand the depth of her struggles. Harris's voice wavered just a touch, yet he found his footing once more. It was only recently that I stumbled upon this revelation through another's words. Upon discovering the truth, I rushed to her without hesitation. She is my one and only Mr. Foster. My affection for her surpasses all else in this world. I returned her and the baby to the place they were meant to be. Ben sat in quietude, his heart weighed down as he absorbed the words around him. Yesterday, Harris continued, his voice taking on a gentle warmth. She recounted the events that unfolded at that store. She found herself in a difficult situation, unable to afford both the formula and the nappies her child needed. In her moment of need, she felt a deep sense of desperation, a fear gripping her heart that held her back from reaching out for assistance. And then you entered the scene. Harris locked eyes with Ben, a deep sense of gratitude radiating from him. That act of kindness held a significance beyond words for her, and for me as well. She remarked that you acted without a moment's pause, without a single inquiry, simply offering your assistance. Your generosity is beyond words, and I am forever grateful for it. Ben shifted uneasily, deflecting the compliments with a wave of his hand. I simply acted as anyone else would in that situation. I encountered a soul in distress. Harris offered a subtle smile. One might find it astonishing just how rare it is for individuals to take the path you chose. My daughter wishes to express her gratitude to you personally. He gestured towards the grand estate, inviting all to behold its splendor. Step into the warmth. She stands poised, eager for the moment your paths will finally cross. Ben trailed behind Harris into the magnificent foyer, the splendor of the estate fading into the background as his thoughts swirled with doubt. In the sitting room, she awaited the young mother he had assisted. Her eyes sparkled with appreciation, a touch of unease dancing within them as she held her baby close. Mr. Foster. Allow me to introduce my daughter, Maria, Mr. Harris proclaimed, his face lighting up with a proud smile as he gestured towards her. Maria stepped forward, her voice quivering with emotion. Gratitude flows from my heart. Your actions yesterday held profound significance. Your kindness has been a guiding light, and I can't imagine how I would have navigated without it. Ben shifted with a hint of unease, presenting a humble smile. It was merely a fleeting moment, insignificant in the grand tapestry of life. I simply acted as anyone else would in that situation. With a resolute shake of her head, she dismissed the notion. Indeed, it was far from nothing. You played a pivotal role. You honored me with respect when I was unable to seek it out. That held significance. Her words resonated deeply with Ben, yet before he could muster a response, she continued, revealing that upon returning to express their gratitude, they discovered the truth that he had lost his job because of her. A wave of despair washed over me. What happened to you was truly unfair. Ben shrugged, attempting to dismiss it with a casual air. It's not on you. Such events unfold in the tapestry of life. Mr. Harris advanced, cradling a slender envelope in his hand. Though the past cannot be changed, our desire is to restore balance and make amends. Ben paused, weighing his decision before giving his acceptance. His breath caught as he opened it. Within lay a pile of bills, far exceeding the expense of nappies. This is too much, Ben said, his voice trembling with emotion. Harris rested a calm hand on his shoulder. It's more than just about the nappies. Consider it a means to support your college expenses. We've listened to the tales of your struggles, laboring away, and this is the bare minimum we can offer. Ben's hands quivered with anticipation. Your kindness leaves me at a loss for words. I am unable to do that. You can't, Harris said, a warm smile gracing his lips. Indeed. That is something you ought to consider. Maria and I are unwavering in our stance. Maria nodded, her eyes glowing with warmth. Kindly, Mr. Foster, this is truly meant for you. Harris pressed on, his voice a blend of gravity and inspiration. And there's a final twist to share. Though you face the loss of your job, I have a more promising opportunity to present to you, a position at my company that could lead to greater things. Your actions reflect a profound sense of integrity and compassion, traits that we hold in the highest regard. Should you choose to embark on this journey, a welcoming space awaits you. Ben felt a surge of adrenaline as Harris's words reverberated through his thoughts. A role within his organization. It felt like a dream, almost too perfect to believe. He toiled relentlessly, balancing multiple jobs and setting aside his own aspirations, all in the pursuit of survival. Yet, at this moment, the chance he had longed for had finally arrived. For a fleeting instant, the world around him faded into a haze as a torrent of memories surged through his mind. He recalled the echoes of his mother's voice, her words woven into the fabric of his memories, spoken to him countless times throughout the years. Kindness will find its way back to you, Ben. Though the journey may be long, it inevitably returns to its origin. He had always held those words close to his heart, yet in that moment, it seemed like a twist of fate. How could such a humble gesture of goodwill bring him to this moment? A genuine occupation. A possibility for a future he never, what one might have believed could never come to pass. A journey that would enable him to chase his aspirations, to craft a life he could truly take pride in. He cast a fleeting look at the infant cradled in the young mother's embrace, then turned his gaze back to Mr. Harris. The burden of it all, the skepticism, nearly consumed him. His hands quivered as he unearthed his voice. Your kindness leaves me at a loss for words. This exceeds all my wildest dreams. Mr. Harris's smile radiated warmth and understanding. You've truly earned it, Ben. Your generosity has been evident, can transform all that is. If this tale resonated with you, Please express your appreciation by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Your support inspires us to keep weaving impactful tales for the world to hear. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to sharing the next video with you soon.